Pat.
How's everyone doing today?
You know, I think we're good. We're better.
We're better?
We're better today.
All right. I'll switch it up.
Right. Another beautiful day for everyone here.
All right.
So today's episode, we're going to go into, we've been talking a lot about pop, and I guess this would be part 3 of pop.
Yeah,
now.
literally.
It's part 3 of the pop series.
Pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk about looking into emotions. Is heartbreak essential to pop and also R&B? We talked a lot about it in our last episode, the importance of having important emotional connections to these songs.
Right.
And today I think we're going to talk a little bit deeper about the songwriting process. And a lot of the songs we hear, especially for pop, I think, the number one thing most songwriters talk about, and we'll start here, is love, the ultimate tool in songwriting for pop music. And I'm going to say no.
Really?
I'm going to go with no on
That's
that.
an interesting take.
For pop music.
Okay. I'll let you take the floor on this.
So I think that, yes, a lot of artists write about love in their pop songs. And again, pop, short for popular music. It's something everybody can connect to in some way, right? So I think it's an easy way for pop artists to get that mainstream attention. But I don't always think it's the best inspiration for songs.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with, because some artists will go the other way. Instead of love, they'll talk about like the pain, whether it was some tragedy they went through, a family tragedy, personal tragedies, personal growth.
Yeah.
And they'll kind of stay away from that love aspect. And I actually enjoy that more
Really?
than when pop artists talk about love, because it's overplayed.
I see what you're saying. I get where you're coming from now.
And I think there's a much deeper connection when pop artists stay away from the whole love topic and they go some other direction, because you actually learn more about the artist.
I see what you're saying.
Instead of like, and you know, I don't know if I should even say this artist because I'm worried about their fan base, but I'm just going to reference, she's a number one pop artist in the world, is married to a football player.
Okay.
I think
before you even said that,
I think we know who we're talking about.
We don't have to. Just go on.
But 90% of her songs are about love.
Okay.
In some essence.
Okay.
Heartbreak or a new love, whatever. And don't get me wrong, some of her songs I think are great in terms of the pop world, and they are very catchy, and they do make a connection. But I don't always want to hear about your love life.
You know what? I understand where you're coming from.
You know what I mean?
I think I know what you're saying, because originally now when you expand further on an artist's like life, and they're talking about tragedy, whether they're talking about self-discovery, evolution, you're right. I think seeing different aspects of an artist is what makes fans connect to them more. Instead of saying like, oh, this is who you're dating this week, or this is who you're quote unquote in love with tomorrow, etc. And opposed to that, we're seeing beyond that layer.
Yeah.
And I think I get where you're coming from. That makes sense.
Because I'm thinking of Michael Jackson. I'm thinking of The Weeknd.
Yeah. Oh, The Weeknd, 100%.
Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, they have love songs. But they also have other songs that are not about love, about death, about personal struggles.
Grief. Yeah, 100%.
But they make it into these pop ballads or pop songs that are just so catchy.
Yeah.
And then when you really listen to the lyrics, it's like, oh, you're not talking about love at all. You're going complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a dark place. But like, it's so bright and poppy. It's like, oh, this is a fun song.
Right. Like, yeah, that's what, when you mentioned The Weeknd, that definitely is what draw me to his music and his sound. Is, yes, he would talk about love. Yes, he would talk about like who he's, thinking about. But when he would talk about his own like experience and when he writes songs about understanding his own emotions,
right?
It it hits a target.
Yep.
For a listener, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself, it hits a target where you're like, this guy understands. This guy is going through a self-discovery. Mm-hmm. And I think we've all been there. We've all had our own journeys with that. And the fact that he's not talking about the person, he's talking about the concept and his approach to that concept.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Because and we can go far back as the Beatles, even. Mm-hmm. Again, have they written love songs? Mm. Sure. But they've also written songs that are not about love or about a girl. Mm-hmm. And they were wildly successful.
Yes.
So it's not, I don't think love is the ultimate songwriting tool for pop music. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of new pop artists generally start there because it's just something that's so familiar to their audience. But as they grow, they go into other emotional avenues to kind of introduce themselves, who they really are, to their audience. And I think when artists do that, that's when they really start to build their fan base. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Because I think it's that connection again of how are these artists going to connect to their audience?
Right.
And it's not always down the love route. Mm-hmm. It might be down, we need to talk about some pain or being sad or being vengeful, right? Mm-hmm. So that kind of goes into what is the goal, I guess, of the songwriter there? Is it to be therapeutic? To make that connection? So what is their goal when they write these songs? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, really. I mean, I'm not these artists.
Right.
Because there's a lot of influences there. It could be, are we trying to just make money and become like the number one pop artist in the world?
Yeah.
Or is it something deeper?
Right. I think I'm going to take this one. As some people know, before I made music, my first skill set was songwriting or writing. I always loved it because I always wanted to explain whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking, whatever I'm going through, and find a way to connect to another human being. So when it comes to songwriting, I wonder if I can't speak for everyone else because some people do it for the marketing perspective. Mm-hmm. But I think the aspect of explaining a feeling or a situation and making it relatable to the average person, I think songwriters sometimes keep that in mind when they have listeners. They're hoping that the listener understands the emotions, understands the gravity of the emotions, understanding the responsibility of these emotions. And I think navigating that is one of the, I guess, beautiful things about it. And I think it flows into the pop and R&B music that we obviously love and enjoy. But I think it's important to know that when these artists write about these songs, when they talk about these songs, there's always a sense of like they're coming from a place of not pain, but they're coming from a place of understanding. Right. I think that's how I view it, but it might be different.
No, I think I can agree with you. I think similar to what you're saying, I think there is an aspect of trying to make that connection. But there's also that I just want to make money and get to the top of the charts as quickly as possible.
Right.
Which brings up the notion of is love the ultimate tool to get to number one? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think that's hard to say because you look at a lot of the songs that are on the top right now, even top 20, top 100, whatever it is. And a lot of the songs are about some aspect of love, whether it's I'm falling in love with somebody, I'm falling out of love with somebody, I'm going through a breakup with somebody, or like the excitement of chasing down somebody and the butterflies in your stomach and that whole analogy. But so it's hard because I think in a way, I think love, if you want to get to the top 10 or whatever,
right,
you're going to have to make a song about love in some aspect.
Right.
But that doesn't need to be who you are as an artist. I think it can be like, here's one or two songs I'm going to write about love. And then I'm going to start to explore other avenues.
I agree. Okay.
So it's like
I see what you're saying.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
I think if you want to be in the top 10,
yeah,
20.
It's like if you're single, you got an album come out, make it about love. And I get what you're saying. Like Ultimate Tool, obviously we want to hear more about the life of artists. I mean, like, yeah, we're all love. We've all have crushes, had butterflies in our stomach and everything. But I think hearing about all the different kinds of experiences that are human, like tragedy, discovery, things like that. I think we all want to hear different ranges and spectrums of what makes us human. And I think that is, you're right. I think an artist, doesn't need to just focus on love, one song.
Right.
Obviously, we're trying to avoid bringing up the specific person who writes majority of their stuff about love. But if you do, I think you should use it sparingly.
Yeah, and actually that's a good segue.
Yeah.
Because I was going to mention, as an artist, I think it's important. You have to mature as an artist.
Yeah.
You cannot just stay, like if you make an album that's mostly about heartbreak or love or blah, 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 you're going to have to mature because, and you should because you're getting older. So in some way you do learn from these lessons, right? And an artist that comes to mind that I still listen to is Paramore, right? You listen to that first album Paramore came out with, they were in high school at the time. And it's about high school crushes and high school love and like the butterflies and falling out of love and like all that. But then you listen to the albums now, it's completely different. It's more political, or it's talking about issues that are happening around the world. Right. Not necessarily about love. There might be a song on there about love, but it's a much more mature version of love. Right. So as an artist, you do have to evolve. Yeah. You cannot just keep making like soda pop love beats.
That's a good term. I like that. Yeah.
So I think there's an aspect there. You have to evolve. Yeah. You cannot just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah. I think that's very much true. I think you're right that and that's what I'm talking about. Like, let's use The Weeknd, for example, from, as I mentioned in the last episode, House of Balloons to, was it the last album, Timeless? If I'm Timeless, yeah. It was, yeah. And like, there's so much like growth in artists personally. Everyone, I always talk about it. My favorite album from The Weeknd is Starboy. My fiance, it's Dawn FM. And granted, they're both very great projects in music. And there's so much like evolution over the course of his career, like consistently. And you're right. Like at the beginning, yes, he talked about love and he talked about like that stuff. But as his career has moved on, it consistently just talked about a variety of topics. Right. More self-discovery, more about things that are more relatable. Right. And I love that. I love that in an artist. I love that first on The Weeknd, but artists in general, consistently evolving and saying, you know what? This is my image now. This is who I am. Right. This is who we are. And I applaud them for consistently pushing the envelope of who they are.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about too, because it is a formula, right, for how you write these songs about love, heartbreak. And do you think the formula has been the same? Like, if we're talking like, let's, break it down from whatever, even the Beatles to writing love songs now, like that, is that formula still the same? Meaning, are they still talking about the same type of thing and making a song around it? So am I talking about a heartbreak? Am I talking about this person who I fell in love with? And, right. Yeah. Or do you think it's changed in some way in the past decade versus today?
I would say over the course of time, the concept of the formula was added. They had a little touches on it. They add a little bit to it where they're more personal, they're more relatable, or they're more specific. And I think that over the course of decades, the formula has stayed the same. They just add little variations to it, I would say. Okay. Everyone, when we talk about artists, as everyone that knows me, Adele holds a very, very, very specific place in my heart for music, where I'm very scared of listening to her music because I love her so much, but I'm afraid to listen to it. No offense, Adele is literally my favorite artist, but she will never be in my rotation just because of how dangerous her music is, because I feel the emotions regarding her music. So I would say the formula has stayed relatively the same. There's been a little bit of twists and variations to it, depending on the artist or the band or the group.
Right.
And obviously they throw their own touch on it. But I think the formula has consistently evolved. But if you look at the root of it, it's still the same.
Yeah.
I think it's still the same.
And Adele has such a raw emotion with talent. So she makes that connection between her emotion she feels in that song come out clear in the way she articulates her songs, her melodies. She is a master of that. And I think that's part of the reason she's very successful. She's just very capable of projecting exactly how she feels in her songs.
Right.
And she's like a one-off. Because I think she writes a lot of songs about love, but I think she can get away with it because she's so talented at doing it. And maybe we can make a whole episode about Adele.
We can. Because I actually, before we... Sorry, you got me in my Adele fan bag right now. Yeah. But no, there's actually one song, I will admit, there is one song in my rotation by Adele, and it's a song about her son. And,
yes. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful. And the fact that she took, just about love, but now she's obviously a mother, she's talking about it, and she's vulnerable, she's raw about her emotions going through motherhood, and I'm sorry. Even when that song comes in my rotation, it's the only one song by Adele, I'm very, no offense, I skip it on purpose, because I'm afraid. I'm like, no. Whatever she's about to sing about, I'm going to feel the exact thing in that exact moment. Yeah. So, trust me, I get you.
And so I want to make that connection, though, because we're talking about today's songs, heartbreak, right? That connection, though, with earlier songs like 90s, 2000s. Do you think that the 2000s or what do they say now? The 2010s, 2020s,
the
it's just weird.
The 2000s, yeah.
Is it the new 80s, right? So is that because the 80s had its own sound, I'm thinking heavy synth.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Hall & Oates.
I'm thinking Depeche Mode.
There we go.
A little Daft Punk in there as well.
Yes.
But do you think that feel like heartbreak?
Yeah.
In the 80s, is it the 2000s have a similar sound or is it different?
I would say it's different, but not by much. I would say 2000s versus 80s. 80s, I think, maybe because I'm not from the era, but I listen to it with a sense of it gives me an optimistical perspective of heartbreak or love. Even heartbreak from an 80s song, even at the end of the song, I feel optimistical about, I don't know if that's the correct term, but I feel very upbeat about my approach to that. Versus the 2000s, where I think they go into a very dark depth with the songs.
Okay.
And it leaves you there. If that makes sense. That's how I feel compared to those two genres of generations of music.
I agree. I think that the sound of the 80s, I'm talking I was born in I was born in the 80s, but I was 1.
Yeah. I was 91, so
right. But if you listen to early, Daft Punk or early Depeche Mode, the songs are darker. It has a darker tone to it, and they might be talking about the same topic of heartbreak or losing someone, right? Where in the 2000s, it's same topic, but it's just that tone and how they wrote that song it's different. And I think the message then comes across differently to its audience because we might like Depeche Mode or
Dark Punk, yeah.
Daft Punk.
Daft Punk, yeah.
But I'm not sure. Like, if we showed that to somebody who was born in the early 2000s, they probably wouldn't like it because it might be too dark.
Right.
So the message would not get across as clearly as if they listened to a song from today that had the same message about heartbreak, it would get across better.
Right.
So again, I think it's just over the decades, how are artists
messaging
getting that communication across?
I get what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, that might explain the reason why we have the attachment to 80s versus 2000s music. I mean, obviously I have attachment to them, but I think you're right. The message that it leaves you with was determined by those people.
Right.
And that was done intentionally.
Exactly.
I get it. I know what you're saying.
So that kind of goes into, because there's so many artists out there that use heartbreak, right, as a way of kind of getting into the top 10 to become popular.
Right.
But I also want to talk about some artists in R&B and pop that don't necessarily use heartbreak as their main way of introducing themselves.
Right.
And how did they become successful without the standard, heartbreak formula? And some artists that come to mind, I mean, we've talked about Daft Punk. They're known, of course, for their electronic music, and they have themes of, the future.
Yeah, which I love them for.
Based around a lot of dance music. Also, I'm thinking of even Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu.
Oh boy.
Even Beyonce, really.
Yeah, I was thinking her next.
These are artists, at least when they first initially started, they didn't always necessarily go to heartbreak.
Right.
They talked about something else, whether it was focusing on themes of joy, empowerment, escapism, or even Lauryn Hill talked a lot about her motherhood.
Yeah,
right?
I know
Other themes. And it's just interesting because it's that's not the standard formula, and they still became successful.
Right.
So I'm wondering, are there any artists now that we listen to that might follow that same formula that they're doing or did? Because it's an interesting segue.
Yeah.
Of not following that formula.
I will say that first off, anyone that knows me, I love Lauryn Hill. But the pioneers of taking a different approach to music that would be against the grain, if you want to call it anything, and
I do.
And then they managed to make a splash, if not an impact, on the culture of music because they were willing to be vulnerable. They're willing to discuss topics that are not as commonly brought up. And I think, actually, if anything, listening back on those artists, I'm like, God, they really were the underdog in that situation.
Yeah.
People are there's probably people telling them, let's not do that. Let's talk about these topics because they trend or these are marketable, et cetera, et cetera. And they were like, no. This is the message I'm putting out. This is what I want. This is a representation of who I am.
Right.
And they knew, and I really shout out a lot of respect to them. They knew that their target audience was going to immediately love it, and then the person that was not probably listening to their music heard one of their songs and connected to them.
Yeah.
So they knew what they were doing, and I shoot out so much respect because it takes a lot of courage to go in a different direction from what the machine is telling you that you should do. Yeah,
and I want to bring up another artist. Same lines. You have to be bold and I think a little brave to kind of do this. MGMT. And there's a popular clip, I think it's still on YouTube, of before they were famous.
Yeah.
Because it was these two guys in college.
Yeah.
And they literally just set up like their instruments outside of their dorms.
Right.
And just started playing one of their songs.
Uh-huh.
And their songs have nothing to do with love.
Yeah.
It's about sadness.
Yeah.
It's about like the social commentary of like what's happening around them, escapism, and just their own weird like abstract ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
But their songs are bops, right?
Without a doubt.
And
oh my gosh, yeah.
I remember watching this video on YouTube of just they're outside, they're in probably their quad or whatever in their college.
Yeah, yeah.
They just have 2 speakers, their computer set up. This is like probably 2005.
Yeah, yeah.
Before they were signed. And they're just blasting the song. And people are out there dancing.
Yeah,
they don't even know who these guys, people are.
Yeah.
And it's wild because how popular they got. Like literally not too long after that.
Oh my God. I will say this because I loved their music when I heard it. And what makes it even funnier, speaking of a YouTube video, so another artist that I thoroughly enjoy, Kid Cudi, anyone who knows me that, there was a video, I think MGMT was playing, I don't know if it was a Coachella or some sort of concert, and I guess Kid Cudi was also in the background,
right.
But he was such a huge fan of them.
Yeah.
That he came on the stage and started dancing with them.
Right.
Because he was so, like, he first off, anyone that knows his music, Kid Cudi's music, he loves that psychedelic kind of, like, feel that MGMT kind of brings with their music. And he's just a fan of it. He was just he just came on stage and started dancing with them because he was so inspired and touched by their music. And
I mean, you watch that video, and I remember watching, like, wow.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, none of those people dancing to these guys know what's about to happen with them. Like, it's why, and I think the song they were playing, it escapes my mind. The song that they were actually playing was one of their biggest hits.
Yeah.
So, like, you literally don't know that song is going to be on the radio soon.
Yes.
But, like, I think they had the formula of, I don't need to write about love. Yeah. I just need to write a song that connects with my people.
Right.
And because you can tell in the video, they enjoy their own song.
Yeah.
Like they're jumping around dancing.
Yeah.
But they're so bold, I guess, and brave in a way because they're like, I'm not going to do the whole heartbreak writing. No, I'm going to do what I like, what I want to write about.
Right.
And just make people enjoy this music.
Right.
And they were very successful at it. And I remember that was the same time a lot of other bands with similar sound. I'm thinking about Foster the People was also out at the time. And if you know that song.
Oh my gosh. The
that
specific
came
song.
Out,
yeah, that
has nothing to do with love.
Yeah.
That is a very sad song.
With a very strong message. Very
strong message. But it was very popular.
I remember.
And if you sang those lyrics and you actually thought about what they're saying, you're like, oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Because I remember when I first discovered Foster the People, I think, ironically, it wasn't Pump Up. Sorry. Well, set the name.
You can say it.
Yeah, Pumped Up Kids.
We're talking about Pump Up Kids.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, the song that got me into Foster the People was Houdini.
Houdini, yeah.
Yeah. That was a song that I was like, oh, I like this. And they were like, oh, you should probably hear their single.
Yeah,
and then
Pump Up Kids.
I was like, okay, cool. So I listened to it, and I was like, oh, this is really nice. And then I'm thinking about it. Why does these words make me feel uncomfortable? And I was like,
I laugh. I laugh at that song, not because of what it's talking about.
You're right.
The contrast of the music and the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because the music is upbeat and got a happy little tune to the back of it. And the lyrics are dark and talking about a terrible topic.
Yeah, once I heard like the lyrics, I was like, something about this. Well, I can't explain this feeling. And then I was like, I actually Googled the lyrics and I was just like, oh my.
But they did what they wanted.
Exactly.
They accomplished what they wanted to do, which was to get like a topic
they wanted to discuss.
Right, out there.
Right.
But again, here's another artist. I'm not going to talk about heartbreak or love. This is a really serious topic of the country.
Right.
And I'm going to promote it in this way.
Yeah, and I wish, no offense, shout out to them because that was a clever switcheroo. Did not see that coming.
Ooh, I like the use of switcheroo there. Did not expect that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just came to mind because that's how I felt. And I was just like, oh, this is an upbeat song. And then I'm like, no, this is heavy.
It's like,
yeah.
It's weird even saying, like, I will still listen to that song because it's still a good song.
Yes.
But the lyrics is a very serious topic.
Yes. I agree.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I mean. So these artists obviously were very smart and creative in talking about these topics that are outside the realm of heartbreak and love, and were still highly successful.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of goes into, what are some other common themes you think that artists are using nowadays who are clever to engage and capture their audiences? That's not necessarily about love.
Okay.
And I have one that comes to mind.
Sure, you go first.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it, please.
I'm talking about, and again, they're not mutually exclusive to not writing songs about love. They definitely write songs about love.
Right.
But they also have hits that are not about love in particular.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about the 1975.
Sorry. I was thinking in my head, I was like, where was the direction? And I was like, yep, he went there. I got you. Please, definitely. Please lead the way.
1975, probably one of my favorite pop bands.
Yeah.
I've seen them live. They're a fantastic band. I am going to argue, and we can argue this another day. And if there's any fans out there who want to argue with me, bring it. But I think they are like the new Beatles.
Whoa. That is a brave take.
I mean, I'm not,
That's a brave take.
But
I have to think about that for a moment.
Yeah, we'll go into that. But
yeah.
No, I think because they do have a lot of songs. Matthew is the lead singer. He's very creative in his songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's talked about topics around drug abuse. He's talked around topics of what's happening in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to preface it by saying I don't agree with a lot of the things sometimes he says politically, personally.
Mm-hmm.
But he's very creative about how he gets his message across in his songwriting. Okay. Now, he does have songs, of course, that are about love, and that's great and wonderful. And they have a lot of bops. He's one of the few bands, they are one of the few bands I could listen to an album all the way through, and it's fine. Right. But the way, he uses double meanings in his songs, analogies in his writing, it's clever. And I think that's also kind of what builds interest in the audience, because you have to listen to the song multiple times before you actually understand what he's talking about.
Right, I hear you.
So that's just one example, I think. And some of the themes, like I said, is like social issues, drug abuse, all that.
Yeah. So with 1975, I discovered them through the song Somebody Else. And
great
this is in 2016, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah, 2016.
So I can't tell you how much that song hit. I was like, who? No offense, I've never heard them until that moment. I was like, who is this? This is infectious. And I mean, obviously not just, that song particularly, which is about love per se, but that song and their band, it's so infectious, their music. And I'm like, I just connect to it in a way I wasn't prepared for. Yeah. And another band that I personally, there's a particular band that I liked the most. That was The Neighborhood, which is around the time, which is kind of like pop, a little punk, a little more alternative maybe per se, but they talked about so much things and so many different elements about, life, culture, political. And I think that era of the fact you don't have to talk about love. I think obviously they have their favorite song, that their single, Sweater Weather. That was for, I think, which album was. I think it's called I Love You, I think it was. Yes. Yeah. With the cymbals. I remember because I bought the shirt. And I was such a fan. I was such a diehard fan.
Fanboy.
Yeah, I was. But you're right. You don't have to. You can be, that could be your single. Right. And because, most people were like, oh yeah, I know love. Yeah. And then when you listen to them and their album or their catalog, you're like, oh no, there's a lot of depth to their artistry, their music, their sound, and I love the fact that you can explore that with a fan as a fan. I'm sorry, but you're right. I think you're correct that you can be very, very. You don't have to follow the formula that the machine tries to tell you have to make. I think if you just believe in what you're trying to do, I think you can, the work will like speak for itself.
Yeah. I think it's, you do have to be creative, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's coming up with a topic that's not about love, you can do that.
Yeah.
But you still have to engage your audience. Mm-hmm. So how you do that creatively matters. Mm-hmm. And I think there are a lot of talented artists and songwriters out there.
Yeah.
That do it very well. But it is a hard skill. And so it's not many artists, at least I've heard right now, are doing it. Mm-hmm. But I am interested in seeing what the future holds for, I think, singer-songwriters.
Right.
Because I think it's something that, at least for me, it's heartbreak, love, it gets played out really fast.
Right.
And I think a lot of the audience is ready to hear other topics besides that. Mm-hmm. Because it is also about the connection with what's going on in the world around you and how do you connect to that.
Right. I agree with you.
So excited to hear, what new artists are doing.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's something outside the realm of the love and the heartbreak world.
Yeah. And I think there's artists that do it. There's bands that do it. I think people are starting to notice that the artists that are coming out today are showing much more versatility in their song topics or conversations that they try to bring up. And I love that. Yeah. I love the pushing the envelope, experimenting, trying to change what was the standard and be like, this is what I am. If I don't fit the standard, that's fine.
Right.
And you know what? Believe it or not, people eat that up. People love that artists are like, what? I don't care what the grain is. I'm going to go against the grain.
Exactly.
And I think, I want to say it makes them edgy, but I think it gives them a unique perspective that is the reason why we listen to music, is we want someone that has a very unique perspective. Some of it is going to be relatable. Some of it will not be. But then you connect to those topics and then you start thinking about them.
Right.
And I love that for them.
Yeah. Well, again, very insightful episode. Pop World. There's always a lot to talk about in Pop World.
A lot.
This is literally part 3 of Pop World. So, excited and continue to listen to us, and we'll be back for our next episode.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you have an idea for an intro or an outro that we could play on our show, please send to musicmusingspodcast@gmail.com.
If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please email us at musicmusingspodcast@gmail.com.